myself and Helios, myself meaning Treasury then, we had approved the merger with Airtel until advised by the National Security Council that that's a dangerous route to go and we must abandon the process. And the National Advisory Committee also advised the National Security Council that government takes over 100% ownership of Telkom. So a decision was made. And National Security Council is an organ of the Constitution, is the top security organ of this country. I have no reason, or we have no reason, to doubt that the decision made by the National Security Committee was wanting. Looking at even the composition, who chairs the National Security Council, who deputizes, who are the other members who sits on it. And because of that, that route could not proceed. And then the process, Helios felt frustrated because they cited three issues. Number one, the reason as to why they are making losses is that government is supposed to act as a regulator, an enabler of a win-win situation, was not playing its role as required. Because like now, one of the things they cited, like the chance that almost 90-something% or most of us are on Safaricom. That for an for a telecom person to call you is going to be charged, and the payment is going to be done to Safaricom. So the competition, the arena was not even. That is one of the reasons they cited has been the biggest problem. And number two, they also claimed that, government had unlawfully, really not unlawfully, but unprocedurally, taken the assets, a land of almost close to 70 acres along Gong Road. And the value then was close to 10 billion. Government, in its wisdom, put up an international rugby center. And I think the construction is on, or the government had already made that decision. The attempt for it to revert back to Telkom has also not yielded much fruit, because those are decisions that are made elsewhere. I think it's against that background that a directive was made to me to prepare a CAB memo, which we did, to the National Security Council. Our prayers were given, and one of it is that yes, a decision, a formal communication now from on behalf of the National Security Council, where I was told, I was directed to approve, the National Security Council approved the exit of Helios in Telkom Kenya, with the government acquiring the 60% shareholding owned by Helios. And further, the National Security Council also approved the government take over and compensate Helios an amount that they invested in terms of loan. This is their money, which they are loaned to Telkom. We did not pay a single cent for taking over those shares. It was for a consideration of $1, just as a token to say that it wasn't free. But what I was directed to do was to compensate the loan of $48 million, which had actually accumulated, has gone up to about $51 million, equivalent of about 6 billion shilling. So this was the directive that I was given by the National Security Council. It further approved a budget of the same amount for Telkom to facilitate the implementation of the exit plan by Helios, and was directed to take appropriate action to engage. The decision, the CAB memo, it was not by myself alone. It was jointly done with me and the Attorney General. So myself for the national security, for National Treasury, and the Attorney General, Honorable Kiara, were the two who are prosecuting the memorandum in the National Security Council. And a decision was made and communicated back that the decision has already been made, and we act as required. So, and the decision to buy back Telkom was not for commercial reason. I think that's where, you'll have said was evaluation done, was this. But, this was for strategic national security reason. That's how Telkom was acquired. The government decided to acquire 100% shares in the Senate. I was directed to implement the NSC and provide appropriate budget as required for a purchase of share at a consideration of $1. All this process was undertaken. I think it's also important just to mention, we've had a number of bailouts, even like, let's say, Kenya Airways. The reason why we give is because it's even more than commercial reasons. If you look at the other auxiliary services that KQ or even Telecom provides, outweighs the losses it's making.